Talk loud.
Talk loud.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So we built a berm around right on here on the front, the uphill side of the garden, and around on the side where the water drains off over here, because water has come down our road and washed silt out over our garden 2 or 3 times in heavy downpours. So we're creating this berm, which we'll put bushes or plants on that will be permanent. And then we've dug a real deep ditch over here on both sides, so all that groundwater will go away from the garden. So it's kind of a 2-part system to hopefully keep the water and the silt from going across our garden, because we've done twice so far.
I mentioned in the last video how manure and compost are vital for your farm. This compost right here, which is composted wood chips, hay, maybe some vegetable scraps, and a little bit of some weeds and grasses, mostly manure. This is now 3 years old. This was in our cow barn, then we moved it out, then the pigs were on it. It's been mixed up. There's some roots and sticks in it just because the nature of the machinery kind of will put that stuff in it. But in the video, I also mentioned that expansion is excitement. I was trying to think of what word I used in our previous video. I said that the thought of expanding is exciting. So this compost is going over there. I'll show you what Jesse's doing. The pile in the front is not compost, that's earth. The nice dark pile, look at that. Look at that. That is life right there. So yeah, garden expansion 2024, 2025. So this garden expansion is a little bit longer, probably 10 feet longer than our hoop house, which is 90 feet. So the new garden for next year is 100 feet long, and I would say probably 60 to 70 feet wide. So this is really going to give us so much more space. We definitely have to have it fenced in before I plant anything next year, because the deer love it up here. And they often actually bed down right next to the hoop house, I think because the hoop house holds heat, so they'll bed down right next to it. But this is exciting because we're going to be able to grow so much more. I also wanted to mention the really cool thing that is going to happen between the hoop house and the line of stones. This section is our current potato bed, although you can't tell because I was a cruddy gardener and I let the weeds just overtake it. You can see where I've dug some up, but the rest is just weeded. However, my point, between the hoop house, which retains heat, and the stones that retain heat, this is going to create a different microclimate than, let's say, on the other side of the stones. So I'm excited to see if we can grow some things that really like the heat outside. Maybe it's going to be a place of experiment. And while I'm so close to the hoop house, I might as well show you what I've been doing in here today. You might notice there's some things missing, like all of the tomato plants and all of the yellow beans and green beans missing because we got a hard freeze in here last night and it killed them. You might also notice there's so many green tomatoes all over the ground. Look at the beets that I just recently planted. I figured I would show you what the frozen tomato plants look like. Aren't they sad? And I took all the rest of them down, pulled the hoops up, but I didn't figure you really need to see me do all of that. So all I'm doing is snipping off the branches that are hanging over the hoop. Just gonna make it easier to get everything all untangled. When you have a hoop house and you do things like pulling these up out of the ground, you have to be really careful that you don't hit the plastic with one of these sharp edges. Ask me how I know. That's right. Okay, do you want to see something super cool? At least I think it's super cool. Look at the root system on this tomato plant. Gotta get these tomato vines out of the way so you can actually see it. Look at these roots. Look at these. Is that not incredible? I think it's amazing. Oh look, a little carrot plant. That's cute. You might be wondering, what am I going to do with the rest of the green tomatoes and the few tomatoes that are ripe-ish? This one's actually not bad. I'm gonna bring this in the house is what I'm gonna do with this one. The green tomatoes and the tomatoes that are split or whatever, I'm not going to do much with them, except I'm going to do a hoop house experiment. I'm going to put those tomatoes up that way by where the dog is, where the tomatoes were growing, and some down along this line, and I'm going to let the tomatoes stay there on the ground over the winter. I'm going to let them rot, and I'm going to see if in the spring any tomato plants will sprout. I am a firm believer that plants that are healthy and strong will grow because they want to. So I'm going to see if it works. How cool would that be to have hundreds of tomato plants that just start growing themselves, and then I could separate them and put them where I want to. Nice hands, huh? I didn't want to forget how beautiful the onions are looking and the beets. We'll see. And this is lettuce that I'm letting go to seed. I didn't want you to think I was completely wasting tomatoes, because I picked a whole roasting pan of green tomatoes, well, a roasting pan and a half, and the few that were ripe or close to it. I guess I'm going to have to do some research and see if I can find a green tomato recipe. It's really cold out today. It's cold inside the house and it's cold outside, but I have to get the beds ready for garlic. Let's go. Sorry, I got distracted. Chickens will do that to you. I managed to dig up a few evergreens and plant them in our berm. It's going to look beautiful. It's so cold out, the ducks are taking a nap all hunkered down in the grass. And although thinking about progress is fun, I have animals to feed. They're not going to feed themselves, and they're not going to wait for me to keep dreaming about what our future here at Haven Acres will bring. We truly thank you for watching our channel. Please comment, share, give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate you. Oh, and apparently some of my animals are not waiting for me to feed them.